Neptune missiles tear through the darkness at 560 miles per hour. They hug the terrain at 165 to 200 feet, following a pre-programmed path to stay below Russian radar locked onto the Elektrodetal factory. But this precision strike wasn't the hard part. The real genius was the 4-month-long intelligence trap that led to this exact moment. Their target, the Elektrodetal factory, the heart of Russia's high-tech war machine. Every Chimera drone, every Kh-59 missile starts with components made right here. Russia called it an impenetrable fortress. Over 150 miles from the border, they ran the factory lights all night, so confident in their layered defenses they practically painted a bullseye on the roof. What they didn't account for was one fatal flaw: a ghost corridor, a narrow river valley where the Earth's curvature created a blind spot in their billion-dollar radar grid, and Ukraine was watching. And Ukraine was... Hitting the target, however, is only half the problem. The moment those missiles launched, they triggered a silent 15-minute countdown. That's the exact flight time for a squadron of Russian Su-35s to scramble and turn the Ukrainian launch site into a smoking crater. So the real question isn't how you hit an impossible target. It's how you land the knockout punch and escape the counterpunch that you know is already on its way. At 2:29 a.m., near Chernihiv, the night is shattered by 2 sets of double booms. From 2 mobile launchers, 4 Neptune missiles vault into the sky. But this isn't a slow one-by-one launch. The missiles fire in a rapid 4-second salvo. Here's the technical brilliance that makes this possible. The launch canisters are thermally insulated. It's a simple but game-changing piece of engineering that means the crew doesn't have to wait for the system to cool down between shots. They can unleash their entire payload and start packing up to vanish in under 5 minutes, a critical advantage when you know a counterstrike is coming. As soon as they are clear, the missiles drop to just 200 feet, hugging the terrain to become electronic ghosts. At that exact same moment, 30 miles away, the second part of the plan kicks into gear. 15 Banshee drones launch from the back of a simple truck. The strategy is a classic feint, a 2-punch combination designed to overwhelm the enemy's senses. The Banshees are the jab loud obvious and designed to draw all the attention. They climb to 2,000 feet, flipping on transponders that are programmed to scream F-16 attack squadron on any Russian radar screen. They are bait, pure and simple, practically begging to be shot down. And while Russian air defense is busy dealing with this noisy, screaming threat, the real knockout punch, the 4 Neptune missiles, is already flying low and silent under the chaos, completely invisible. The entire operation now comes down to one critical moment of human decision. Will the operator in the Russian command bunker take the bait? At 2:34 a.m., inside a Russian command bunker near Bryansk, an operator's screen explodes with a constellation of red icons. 15 hostile contacts moving fast, appearing on his scopes exactly where they shouldn't be. The signature looks terrifyingly familiar, an F-16 attack squadron. Panic gives way to procedure. The order is given, engage, and the sky rips apart. The Pantsir-S1, Russia's frontline guardian, unleashes hell. 10 missiles tear into the sky, and in under 4 minutes, 10 Banshees disintegrate into fireballs, falling from 2,000 feet like burning leaves. The Russian crew is probably high-fiving. They just repelled a major NATO-style air attack. Or so they think. But here's the beautiful, brutal math of this exchange, the part they don't realize yet. They just fired 10 of their multi-million-dollar SAM missiles to destroy 10 drones that cost about $15,000 each. It's like paying $1,000 to swat a $10 mosquito. Ukraine just traded scrap metal for gold, and Russia gladly paid the price. The real problem, however, is what happens next. Convinced they are under a massive assault, the Russians don't stop at shooting down drones. They escalate. From an airbase in Bryansk, a flight of Su-35 fighter jets, Russia's most lethal air superiority hunters, scrambles into the sky. Their mission: find the source of this attack and burn it off the face of the Earth. The element of surprise is gone. The sky is now filled with Russian radar waves, and 2 Su-35s flying at 1,200 miles per hour are now screaming towards the last known location of the Ukrainian launch site. The Neptune crew's 5-minute window to escape just got a whole lot shorter. At 2:43 a.m., the 4 Neptune missiles, now deep inside Russian airspace, execute their masterstroke. They emit a low-power radar signal engineered to blend into the Nebo-M's display as a harmless natural clutter like a flock of birds. It's a stealth trick, not hiding but blending in. Simultaneously, back on the ground, the Ukrainian launch crews are fighting their own desperate battle against the clock. This isn't a Hollywood escape with screeching tires. It's It's a disciplined high-speed drill. Within 5 minutes of firing, the heavy launchers have shed their camouflage, pulled onto a paved road, and are now indistinguishable from the other commercial trucks rumbling through the night, heading for the safety of an underground bunker. And to seal the deal, to slam the door shut on the hunting Su-35s, a decoy system flares to life deep in a nearby forest. It generates the massive, unmistakable heat signature of a freshly fired missile battery, a glowing beacon that screams, "Here I am," to the inbound Russian jets. The trap works perfectly. The Russian pilots hungry for a kill see the heat bloom and bank hard towards the decoy. On the Nebo-M radar screen, the operator sees a harmless rain cloud drifting towards the Elektrodetal factory. The plan seems flawless, except a trick this clean feels too clean. The Russian commander, smelling a rat, makes a call that changes the entire game. He orders his ground radar to ignore the automated threat assessment and start a full-power manual sweep of that sector. And then he unleashes his real trump card. A Bereave A-50 AWACS is scrambled into the air. It's a flying command post with a radar powerful enough to look down, completely eliminating the terrain-hugging advantage the Neptunes have relied on. They have fooled the eyes on the ground, but now they have to contend with an eye in the sky. At 2:45 a.m., the Krasuka 4's electronic assault finally lands a punch. It doesn't just jam one of the Neptune's GPS signals. It actively lies to it, convincing the missile's onboard computer that it is 1.5 miles off course. The missile, trying to correct a phantom error, deviates from the ghost corridor. It's a tiny mistake, but at these speeds and against this level of defense, a tiny mistake is a fatal one. That single deviation is all it takes. High above the operator inside the Bereave A-50 sees what he's been hunting for, a single anomalous blip that doesn't move like a cloud. It's the confirmation they needed. The response is instantaneous and overwhelming. Two S-400's 4,000-pound monsters leap from their launchers. Accelerating to Mach 5, they aren't just trying to intercept the rogue missile. They are painting a line back to its origin. At the same time, the two Su-35 pilots, realizing they've been chasing a ghost, get new coordinates from the A-50. They break off their pursuit of the decoy and rocket towards the real search area, now just 10 miles from the Ukrainian crew's original firing position. Suddenly, the entire operation is on the verge of catastrophic failure. The missile attack is about to be stopped, and worse, the launch crew is about to be cornered and annihilated. The fate of the mission and the lives of the soldiers on the ground now depends entirely on the three remaining missiles and one desperate pre-planned gamble that was saved for this exact moment. At 2:47 a.m., this is the moment of total crisis Ukrainian planners had gambled on. A desperate enemy is a predictable one, and they had saved their ace in the hole for exactly this. As the Krasuka 4 celebrated its kill, the three remaining Neptune missiles did something remarkable. They simply stopped listening. The engineers had built them with a fatalistic understanding of Russian warfare: never trust GPS. With a single command, the missiles switched to pure inertial navigation system. It's the digital equivalent of blindfolding a man who has already memorized every step through a pitch-black room. The missiles no longer needed to see, they just needed to feel. Trusting their own internal gyroscopes and accelerometers, they filtered out the Krasuka's electronic lies and locked back onto their original deadly course. But simply ignoring the problem wasn't enough. You have to kill it. And that's when the real ghost in the machine revealed itself. 40 miles away, a Ukrainian Special Forces team hidden for days had been waiting for this exact signal. They launched a Switchblade 600. It's a 50-pound kamikaze drone, a stealthy hunter cruising through the night on a one-way mission. It wasn't aimed at the missiles or the jets. It was aimed directly at the heart of Russia's electronic defense. As the S-400s raced towards a missile that was no longer there, the Switchblade slammed directly into the Krasuka 4's main emitter array. A multi-million-dollar electronic warfare system, the brain of the entire defensive network, was instantly lobotomized by a drone that fits in a backpack. The jamming field that had moments ago dominated the sky simply vanished. With the Krasuka gone, the Russian Su-35 pilots were flying half-blind, relying on their own sensors. And the biggest thing lighting up their screens was still the raging thermal decoy in the forest. They banked hard, unleashing their payloads on a patch of burning trees, convinced they were avenging the attack. By the time they saw their mistake, it was too late. The real Ukrainian launchers, having used the chaos to their advantage, were safely rolling into a hardened underground bunker. The electronic warfare system was dead. The air defense missiles had been wasted on a ghost. The fighter jets were lured into unloading their missiles on a blazing decoy flare. The Ukrainian crew was safe, and 3 Neptune missiles now flying unopposed were closing the final miles to their target. At 2:49 a.m., each missile armed with a 330-pound warhead is now actively locking onto the precise WGS-84 coordinates that mark the factory's heart. The first impact is a surgical sledgehammer blow. The warhead punches through 3 feet of reinforced concrete as if it were drywall. Its hard